Good afternoon, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia Gogan if you are new. I'm gonna get ready and we're gonna talk about some things that have helped me feel more hot, more healthy, and more successful in my 20s. Now, I obviously need to get ready because I'm not looking the hottest, so that's what we're going to do. And we're just gonna kiki, we're gonna chat. I've been wanting to make this video because I feel like the new year is here, basically, and I'm another year wiser, another year older. I am 28 if you guys don't know. So, you know, I still have the 20s, and I'm not saying I'm like super old and I know everything, absolutely not, but every year I definitely learn a lot of wisdom, and I feel like in my life right now, I feel very healthy, very successful, very hot, if you will. Maybe not right this second, but in general, I'm very confident with myself and I feel good about myself. And I don't have perfect days. I am not a perfect person, but I am very content and satisfied. This does not mean that I'm not gonna be working towards being more successful in all areas of my life. Yes, but I just compiled a list of things that I've really just been living by when it comes to feeling more hot, feeling more successful, feeling more healthy. So yeah, we're just gonna kiki, like I just said. I am looking in my mirror and I'm gonna move this. Also, don't mind my messy living room right now. I love how I start off this video probably not the most hot, the most successful looking. I'm joking, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so let's talk about it. And I'm doing my eyebrows, I'm just like plucking them. I do have a clean girl beauty routine that I run through my entire beauty routine if you're interested. But let's first talk about being hot in your 20s. One of the things that have really helped me feel more hot or more beautiful, more whatever, just more comfortable in my skin, is embracing and enhancing my own natural beauty. And I really fought with the universe with this one, especially regarding my hair. I didn't know how to do my natural hair for most of my life. My mom taught me what she could teach me. She is a white mother and she wasn't around a lot of people who had black hair, so she did her best. And honestly, like, you know, I looked good, I looked decent, but then in high school, I wanted to straighten my hair like all my friends and this, that, and the third. Now, I don't demonize different hairstyles. I think being a mixed person, I am very lucky to be able to straighten my hair if I wanted to, which I would never do. My curls honestly don't even really allow it to, but I could pull that off. I can do the box braids. I can do a slick back ponytail with my hairpiece, which I'm actually gonna be doing today. I can have my hair in a poof that maybe looks a little bit better than this. This is like 3 days old. I could do a low bun. I can have my hair out. I have a lot of room to move around, but you know, when I was younger, I didn't really even know how to do that. And the thing is I didn't want to embrace my natural hair because I knew that there was going to be an adjustment period. There was going to be me feeling like uncomfortable, me having to accept that my hair is different than others, learning how to even do my hair. But once I did, once I really learned how to take care of my hair, I just feel so much more myself, so much more. It's not even about necessarily like being natural or whatever, even though my hair is natural now. I just feel more like me. But even when it comes to, you know, my eyebrows or the way that I do my eye makeup or what I put on my skin, I have learned what works for my face, my structure, my skin tone, my vibe, what I want to present to the world. And, you know, that took practice, okay? I did not always have these eyebrows, all right? It took a long time for me to get these eyebrows. I had to train my eyebrows. I talked about it in the Clean Girl beauty routine. But once I put that time in and really just listened to what I uniquely felt good in and comfortable in, and I started to rock that more, I started to do my eyeliner in a shape that really made my eyes look real like cat eye, not like super thick and heavy because everyone else was doing super thick and heavy, but my eyes were shaped differently. So it's like, no, that probably doesn't look the best, no wonder. Once I really started to move out of the confines of what I told myself I had to look and be like, although for a moment in time I was uncomfortable because I had to learn and I maybe didn't look like everyone else, I now am so happy that I did that, because even when it comes to beauty routines or just hair, like aesthetics and stuff, I just feel like everything is very easy for me when it comes to getting ready, when it comes to doing my hair. Like, I know how to do my hair, even though it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it's still fine. But with my makeup, it's pretty minimal, and it's not about like, oh, I have to have minimal makeup. It's just I do makeup that's easy for me, that I like, that every single time I put it on, I'm like, boom, amazing, you look stunning. But there was many times when I was younger that like I would do the makeup routine that just didn't work with my features. Like I was doing too much, I was following everyone else's routines. And then, you know, I would spend an hour doing my makeup routine and then I would hate it because it didn't look good. Like there was always so many days where I just didn't know if my makeup was gonna look good. I just don't have those days anymore because I have the same routine. Essentially, I focus on my eyebrows, mascara, and blush, and then usually I do like a hairstyle depending on the vibe that I'm going for. 99% of the time, I look at myself like, damn, you look amazing, because I've chosen this particular look based off of what I need and what I believe looks good on me. But it takes time. So I don't know, I'm just saying that because like maybe you are at an age where you're still finding your style or finding what works for you, and that's fine. Like it's gonna take time. It's not gonna be easy. Like, you know, doing let's say I'll give you an example of a slick back ponytail that I'm gonna be doing today. It took me a very long time for me to find a hair piece that went well with my hair. I had to invest in that hair piece to make it not look so like not good quality, because I just don't like the look of that. And it never made me feel really good because I knew it just like wasn't the best, you know, quality of hair. It took me a while for me to learn that brushing my hair in the shower made my slick backs look 10 times better, because I have really thick hair and you need to brush your hair all the way back. And the best way to do that for me personally is actually in the shower, and then the proper gels and the proper brushes. But once I got it, I freaking got it. And same thing with my eyebrows. I'm actually curious to know from you guys if there's anything that right now in your life that you're trying to change, maybe about your physical appearance, to make it more unique to you. Like, is there anything that you're trying to embrace more of? Is there like things that you once looked at yourself like it was flaws, but now you're trying to learn to embrace? Like, are there any things about yourself that you might be changing in the new year? Let me know in the comments, because you know, like one of the bigger things for me in the past few years was really making it a priority for myself to wear my natural hair out. Like, I would always wear it like this for the past like few years and stuff, or like down, but I would never wear my hair out. Only just like the past year and a half, I've really been starting to do that. But I made that like a goal of mine before I even started doing that. I wanted to like go into the new year, like embrace your hair more and this, that. So I'd just be curious to know what you guys might be working on, if anything, through a physical glow up or change. Okay, now this next thing is more of a hot mindset. So we kind of talked about physical, but there are definitely things that, in my personal opinion, make somebody hot, and especially women, and that is being willing to walk away. Be willing to walk away from men, relationships that don't serve you, jobs that don't serve you, content that doesn't serve you, conversations that don't serve you, spending your money in places that do not serve you, anything. I think that's probably one of the best lessons that I have learned in my 20s, and I think that I will continue to only strengthen that muscle. I think that that's another thing that takes time. I think everything takes time, but especially walking away from things. And I think that, you know, we operate out of a scarcity a lot of the times with many things, whether that be, let's bring it to men, you know, we want to be loved, we want to have a relationship, we, you know, whatever, and that's totally fine. But sometimes we really accept things that deep down in our intuition we know we don't necessarily enjoy, because we're too afraid that if we let that go, then, you know, we're gonna be alone, or we're not gonna find somebody, or there's not gonna be another opportunity. But that's all scarcity, right? And I think about this in context of when you're holding on to a relationship that clearly you're not getting what you actually want. It's like, it's actually so crazy, because like you're holding on to something that you don't even want, or like you're worrying about somebody walking away from you, but it's somebody who you're not even getting the full version of them anyway. So why are we even worrying about something that we don't actually want? It's like we're holding on to things that we don't actually want. So anyways, be willing to walk away. Know when you walk away, this is what I tell myself with anything, like any circumstance ever. When you're in a situation where you're clearly not happy, it's obviously a no, okay? And you might as well just say no as quick as possible, because The faster you do that, the quicker that you will get to the thing you actually want. Because the thing you're saying yes to right now is not actually what it is that you want, or you wouldn't be complaining about it, or you wouldn't be worried about it, right? You'd be happy. So if you're not happy in the situation, be willing to walk away and understand when you're walking away, don't look at it as you're walking away and you're going down, you're digressing, you're falling back, you're failing. No, 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 no. When you walk away from something, it's because this thing is not for you, or this is not exactly what you deserve, or whatever the case is. And that only means you're one step closer to finding that person, finding that opportunity, finding that whatever. But guess what? It's hard for people to do that because when you walk away, your opportunity or that person is not standing there holding your hand being like, see, you were right. You have to trust. You have to trust. That is the game of life. And the more times you trust that, girl, it just gets so much better. All right, the next thing that helps me feel more hot, I guess, in my life. By the way, I'm putting oil on my mustache and I am twinkle raising it. Ooh, I'm sorry that you love me. Change my mind up like a origami. Okay, sorry, I just had to do that off camera because I couldn't talk when I was doing it. So the next thing is trying to do my best to not consume so many people's egos and projections of what they think is beautiful and hot and successful online. I'm not saying never get advice from people. I'm not saying never get beauty tips from people. I'm not saying any of that. But what I found is helpful is first to understand that, like, especially when we're online and we all live online, okay? There are so many people with different beauty standards and the way that they look and what they, you know, say is success, and everyone's opinions, everyone's look, even if people are not telling you how to look, act, and be, they are projecting whatever they want people to perceive them as, which is not a bad thing. But it's like when you're constantly consuming, oh, this girl looks like this and this girl looks like that and that person's doing this over here, now you're confused, right? And that, I feel like that was me for a long time when I first came up on the rise of social media and even Tumblr. Like, there was so many different aesthetics and so many different things, and you know, you have to go through that period of life of experimenting things, but you also have to know when to just kind of tune it out and look at people who hold similar values as you, look at people who have what you want, look at people who maybe are somewhat similar. You don't have to like look up to people who are completely looking like you, and like, it's fine, we can be diverse. But at the end of the day, like, don't have yourself in this constant maze. So for me, I, you know, look up to a few people online, a few different types of aesthetics, and I keep it pushing. And, you know, I always come back to myself and what feels good to me, the makeup that I like to do, the styles that I like, what feels the best for me. Maybe I will get a little bit of inspiration from others online, and that's just about it. And I just think, like, in this day and age, you have to be so careful now because everyone's getting the next Botox, the next filler, the next extensions, the next hair thing, the next surgery, the next whatever. Not bashing it. Everyone likes their little thing. And I've seen a lot of discourse on this online, especially on YouTube, regarding like women's maintenance routines and stuff are getting to the point where, I don't even know what it was really called, but essentially like the standard of what women should be getting done has become kind of absurd. Like, it's supposed to be normal to always have your nails done and always have like eyelash extensions and have your brows laminated and like monthly facials and your like toes done, everything. Like, that's just like the minimum standard of what every girl should be doing and how much money they're spending. It's like girls are online crying about how, you know, it sucks sometimes to be a woman because the upkeep of being a woman it costs so much. It costs around like $1,000 or $1,500, like some of these girls are spending, but a lot of it, they don't understand that it's actually them. Like, I totally understand the push for aesthetics and beauty in life. I am not aware of that. And it's hard. There's a lot of pressures, of course, and we want to look good, and it's fine if we want to look good. And everyone looks good in different ways. And, you know, some people will argue, well, there's prettier people than others, so like I feel like I have to do all these things in order to look like this, whatever. I'm not even having that conversation right now. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're the one telling yourself that you have to get your nails done, your lashes done, your hair done, your facials, your everything. You have to look a certain way in order to get out of the house. And the thing is you are surrounded by people, places, and things that are telling you that you must look like that. On my feed, in my real life, I don't have friends. I don't have people like that I follow. I don't have a lot of people in my ear telling me nails must be done, eyelashes must be done, you need to have this type of body, you need to have this type of Chanel bag, you need to have these things. I don't surround myself with people and content like that. And the more times that I shut off those people and I kind of like focused on what really mattered to me in my life, which was not really all of that vanity stuff, my environment reflected that. I have friends who don't really care about that kind of stuff. We do things that don't require us to do all those things. Again, it's not about like, oh, you know, you can never want to look good in this, that. I get ready. I'm gonna get ready today. And I'm gonna like, I don't even know what I'm doing today. I think I'm going to my friend's house. I don't even know. And it's also not to say like you can't be around people who care about their looks. I have girlfriends who, they love their bougie bags, they love their like eyelash extensions, they love their whatever. But it's like, do what makes you feel good, but don't let everyone constantly tell you what you need to do. Because what ends up happening is, when people start to tell you enough times that you need eyelash extensions, then you pick up that voice within your head and you tell yourself, you must have these eyelash extensions. And sorry for anyone who has them. I'm honestly coming for girls with eyelash extensions right now. Oh my God, I please, they look great a lot of the times. Some of them look a little bit botched, but a lot of times. My best friend, Joyi, she gets them done. That's her thing. That is her thing, okay? So please. And now this leads into my last thing that I kind of live by when it comes to feeling hot or feeling beautiful, whatever, is deciding that I am beautiful and that I'm hot before anyone else needs to tell me or validate me. I am not waiting for life, for men, for girls, for my friends, for anyone to tell me and coddle me and tell me how great I look. I'm deciding first. And I think that was a really big switch that I had to make when I was growing up into my 20s. You naturally have insecurities. We all have insecurities. But I feel like a lot of the times we're just we're waiting for the validation. We're waiting for the likes. We're waiting for the guy to tell us that we're pretty. We're waiting. This is not to mean that we can't want validation or that we don't need validation or that it's not nice to have validation, but I am always first deciding within myself that yes, I am good enough. Yes, what I've done today is great enough. Yes, I am beautiful. Yes, I am great. Yes, I'm whatever. First, people around me want to reflect that back to me by telling me, by praising me, by liking my Instagram photo, by this, that, and the third. Great, but I'm not waiting for people to tell me that. Because if you continue to wait, it'll be a never-ending game, and on top of that, you'll just be on a roller coaster because you will get validation from other people. You do. It's a normal thing. But what happens when your boyfriend doesn't tell you that you're pretty today? You're gonna all of a sudden walk through life and be like, oh my God, I'm not pretty today because he didn't tell me, or, you know, he didn't like this, or this person didn't say this to me, and now I'm just like gonna have a shitty day because I didn't get told that. Absolutely not. What I'm not about to do is waste my time on this earth waiting for someone else to make me feel happy, because the truth is, you can only get so much happiness and validation from outside sources. It's outside sources, you can't control it. All you can really control is what's going on in here. So what I'm gonna do is sustain this level of confidence within me. I'm not perfect. I don't always think that I'm pretty. I don't always think that I'm the best of the best. That's fine. But I'm gonna, for the most part, focus on this first. Everything else is gonna be a cherry on top. And the best part about that is, listen, when the cherry's not on top, I am still the cake. For the most part, I'm still feeling pretty good, okay? So that's how I move, and that's what's helped me. And, you know, I think that we're all trying to feel more confident within ourselves because we know that it's powerful. It's powerful when you have decided that you are good enough. It's powerful when you stop letting everyone else try to dictate how you should look and be and act. So anyways, I'm gonna take a shower. And then we're gonna do skincare. When we do skincare, we're gonna talk about things that have helped me feel really healthy. And then when I get ready, we're gonna talk about things that have made me successful. And that is a very long list. Okay, out of the shower, I just washed my face with my Fresh Beauty Soy Cleanser. Love it, talk about it every single time I do my skincare. I'm gonna go in and put some essence on my face by Fresh Beauty as well. I ran out of my toner, so we're just gonna skip that step today. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things I live by in terms of being healthy, or why I feel like I am healthy in my 20s. And again, let me just reiterate the fact that like our health changes a lot by aging, life circumstances, like things just happen. So I don't look at myself like the pinnacle of health. I'm always trying to improve my health. But here's a few things that have just helped me. Trying my best to detach healthy behaviors to my physical appearance, because when I focus too much on my physical appearance and I only do healthy habits because I want to look better physically, it never works for me. Like, and what I mean by it never works, it's just like, if my only motivation to go to the gym is to look better, then it's only a matter of time before I fall off. If my only motivation to eat better is to have a summer body, it's only a matter of time before I fall off. Going in with my oil infused serum by Fresh Beauty. The way I look at a healthy lifestyle is one that will help me better show up in every single area of my life and just enjoy the quality of my life. Like, life is supposed to be lived outside of what any sort of healthy behavior will do for my physical appearance. And what I live by as well is simply knowing that caring about my health and my longevity, and will I be mobile when I have children and grandchildren, and, you know, being present in life and not being sick every day, the byproduct of that is a good body. And like, I know it's very simple to, when you hear that out loud, it's like, duh. And we all say that, but then we always do the opposite. And I spent so many years focusing on health only for appearance, and I had to get real with myself. I had to heal a lot of my insecurities that I had within myself in order to stop consistently driving myself into these unhealthy behaviors of dieting and moving my body only for appearance and doing it really hard and strictly and hating myself in the process. Like, I had to get out of that cycle. That's what I wrote a lot about in my book, which my book, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide, a guide to becoming the best version of yourself, which is available for pre-order right now, and it's releasing January 30th. And I bring you through that process of when I started when I was 16 years old and I had low self-worth and I wanted to glow up, and I used all these external things outside of myself, like dieting and working out and getting these unhealthy cycles to try and change myself and love myself. I ended up getting really sick. I got chronic illness. I got all of these things to the point where like I had no other option but to heal my physical body, but more importantly, why I was even driven to these things so heavily in the first place, and why I kept self-sabotaging myself, getting in my own way of healthy behaviors that we know are good for us. I write about that a lot in my book, so I would highly suggest, if you're interested in those topics, reparenting, self-sabotage, rebuilding a relationship with yourself, learning how to love yourself, I would suggest you pre-order the book. When you pre-order the book, you can get a free shadow work journal prompt guide. Link will be all down below. But when it comes to feeling healthy, like, healthy is about our mood, our energy. Can we be present in life? Do we have enough capacity to go out and have healthy relationships? Are we injury free? Can we digest our food? Like, all of these things that sometimes we just take for granted because we're so focused on like the physical, and I get it, and we all want to have a nice body and look great. This is not to mean that you can't want that, but I think that the moment I started to detach working out, eating well from appearance and what it's going to do for me appearance wise, I was really able to heal my body and also stay consistent with these healthy habits and reap the benefits, which is feeling just good in my body without the appearance, which allowed me to stick with things better, because now my body craves feeling energized in the morning instead of craving looking in the mirror, wondering if my stomach is flat today. I don't have that mindset because I've detached a lot. Next, I'm going in with my Deep Hydration Face Cream by Fresh Beauty. Next thing that has really transformed my health is understanding the importance of consistency with things, because obviously when we're consistent with things, we get results. And so I always like to focus on being as consistent I can be with healthy habits and behaviors, and focusing on my progress and my direction versus how fast I'm going. And I feel like when you detach from the appearance or the outcome of a lot of things, you tend not to focus too much on how fast you're going. You kind of focus on just like the progress and consistency. But what has helped me be consistent is understanding that I am very unique, just like you. Every single person has unique needs and wants when it comes to health, diet, lifestyle, everything. So, you know, there's different workouts that just work for me, I enjoy, makes sense for my life, I have access to, things of that nature. Same thing with my diet, like there's things that I like and dislike. So I'm always trying to tailor my healthy behaviors to who I am as a human being and what just works for me in my schedule. Because if I try and follow a workout regimen that someone else online is following or my friend next door is following, maybe that I will be able to follow that for a little bit, but what I don't want to do is fall off of things. So I make sure that I'm choosing movement and I'm eating foods that of course fuel myself and support my health and fitness goals, but are things that I'm not really resistant to. Like, I'm not resistant to going into the gym and weightlifting and doing a bunch of leg days. I love it. I love weight training. I'm not resistant to Pilates reformer classes. I am not resistant to hot girl walks. I am not resistant to at-home core Pilates workouts, but I am resistant to yoga. I don't really love and enjoy going to yoga classes. Like, it's not really for me. I'm resistant to group fitness classes in the form of when they add weights, like an Orange Theory type of class. It doesn't work with me because I don't like going into classes where they're telling me the weights to use and stuff, and because I like to weight train, I do things way more personalized for myself. Even when it comes to meditations, I love guided meditations that incorporate breath work, but I can't really do those Zen meditations where you sit in silence. Like, I can't do it. And I also can't do it when I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go into a Zen meditation. I'll literally fall asleep. So just like understanding you as a human being and knowing like not every single thing is gonna work for you, and that's fine. And the reason why it's so important for me to think like that is because when I tailor my wellness routines to what I need and want, and yes, they're not always gonna feel good, but for the most part, like, it works for me, I tend to stay more consistent. I start to cycle through things that I enjoy, and then of course, I'm getting results. I'm healthier, I'm more fit. I also forgot to mention that I did slick back my hair, and that's why this band is on, because I am laying down my hair with the gel. Okay, the last thing that I think that has kept me really healthy and feeling healthy in my 20s is cycle syncing. This has been a huge part of my journey. Honestly, I would say I learned about cycle syncing around when I was 25. And it's definitely changed my life in the way that I move through my months, whether that is any of my workouts or what I'm eating or just how I'm working, like on my actual job and my day-to-day things that I have to do. Understanding as a woman, you go through a 4-phase cycle. Now, if you're on birth control, you take this ability away from yourself naturally. If you are of a certain age, of course, and you aren't having a cycle anymore, then you won't be going through this. But still understanding there's like pre-menopause and through menopause, like there's still like phases and cycles and things that are important for you to learn. But I am 28, so I'm just talking from the information that I have and what I'm going through. I am not on birth control. And I also understand that people have irregular periods. I would highly suggest if you have an irregular period that you do your research and you start to really understand why it is that you are not regular. There's a million reasons, yes, and I know that it's hard, it's not easy, I totally get that. But I just think that I think one of the best gifts that we can give to ourselves as women is to really understand our uniqueness and that which is your infradian rhythm. Now, I have made 3 videos on cycle syncing, which I will leave down below, but I am gonna start another, not a series, but I'm gonna start I'm gonna make more videos on cycle syncing at the end of the month, like when I get my period again, because I feel like it's time for an update. But I used to always think that my period was just when I bled, and that is part of your infradian rhythm, but there's other phases that you go through. So your menstrual phase is the phase in which you bleed, so like 5 to 7 days. After you come out of that phase, you move into your follicular phase, which meaning your hormones are starting to rise again after the drop of them when you are going through, when you have your period. And then you go into your ovulation phase. This is also the time where you are most likely to conceive. You will have most likely a very high peak in your hormones, lots of energy, like this is where you're getting things done. And then you go into your luteal phase, which is essentially a 2-week span, roughly, very, very roughly. First week, you might not even feel any symptoms, completely depends on who you are in your cycle. But that last week in the luteal, that is where you experience the PMS, you know you're getting your period soon, and then you go back into your bleed. Now, what you eat and how you move your body and how your mental health is and your stress levels and your environment and everything that plays a role in life can affect your hormonal fluctuation through your phase. So for me personally, over the years, my period has gotten so much better, meaning my cramps, my mood swings, my productivity levels, because I've learned how to work with my cycle. So when I am at the last week of my luteal phase into my menstrual phase, I know this is a time where I'm gonna have lower energy. So I try to do my best to not do the heaviest, hardest workouts. It doesn't mean that I don't do workouts. I just usually switch some of my workouts into more lighter workouts, things that are easier on my body. This is the time where I'm fueling my body with a lot of iron-rich foods or things that my body needs specifically. But on the flip side, during my ovulation phase, I have peak energy. Genuinely, I know that I have so much energy and motivation. I also feel that when I'm getting off my period, honestly, but it takes a little bit. But during the ovulation phase, I do tend to have a lot more motivation, a lot more energy. It doesn't take a lot for me to want to create and, you know, work a lot. So I do my best to capitalize on a lot of my energy around this time. So I film a lot of videos, even if I don't necessarily, if I have a set schedule and I've caught up on my work for the week, because I know I have a lot of energy right now, I will film an extra video. I will do a little bit more because I know there's gonna be another week throughout the month where I might have lower energy, lower motivation. It doesn't mean that I can't do work, because I do, but let me take some stuff off of my plate. And so I work with my schedule, and I just find I don't burn myself out so much when I work in this way. And listen, this takes a lot of time, a lot of knowing your body, tracking your cycle, like educating yourself on this, educating yourself on birth control if you're on birth control. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say, because I have a bunch of videos down below, but that has really helped me not only just be healthy and be more sustainable and consistent with healthy habits and just feeling well throughout the month, but I tend to just be nicer to myself. I tend to not stress out myself, but also I feel like a woman, honestly. Like, I just, embracing something that's so natural to you, especially as a woman, it just, I don't know what else to say other than it makes me feel like a woman. And I don't want to offend anyone that might be struggling with not having a period. Like, you're not a woman because you don't have a cycle, or like you, whatever. It's not that. That's just my experience. So anyways, those have been the things that have made me feel honestly the most healthy in my 20s. So I'm gonna get ready now, quickly do some makeup, and then we'll talk about success. Okay, so let's talk about success, because I feel like I have definitely been successful in my life from what I got handed, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And when I mean success, I mean, you know, I worked jobs to get myself out of debt. I changed the relationship that I have towards money. I made a lot more money than I used to ever make. I grew my YouTube channel. I grew my podcast. I got a talent management. I got so many cool experiences. I'm living in my dream condo. Like, I have like great friends, all these things. I'm not trying to boost, obviously. You guys know, I know that you guys aren't gonna come for me, but whatever. But don't you worry, because we got Pinterest boards on Pinterest boards of the dream life, because we're not stopping here. Okay, so the first thing that's really helped me become successful in my life is to work on my limiting beliefs. And this can be honestly just put in the category of victim mentality. I never understood this when I was younger, that your beliefs really do shape so much of your life. Like, if you believe you are not smart and you can't get what you want in your life, you're gonna wake up and not try. You know, if you don't feel like you're good enough, then you're not gonna wake up and go for your dream of becoming a YouTuber. Like, you're just not. So throughout my 20s, I've done this so many times, and I always do this, especially when I'm trying to do something new for the first time, but I would think about the beliefs that I was holding about money, success, relationships, men, myself, everything. And they were usually negative, like I can't get what I want, or no man's gonna like me, or I'm not gonna become a YouTuber, I'm not gonna become this, that, and the third, whatever it was. I got real with myself about the beliefs that I was holding about the things that I wanted in my life. And I changed them. I changed them into something that allowed me to be able to get up and go for what I wanted in my life. And I think, you know, I did this actually pretty young, I guess. Like, I started this even younger than 20. Honestly, because of my life circumstance. My dad passed away when I was 16. My mom became addicted. She's no longer addicted, and she's doing so great in her life now. But throughout my 16 to like middle of my 20s, that was our circumstance and that was our life. So I had to grow up very quickly and I had to take very quick responsibility of my life. And I basically, life, universe, God gave me two options. Option one was to stay where I was at and become what a lot of children become because of their parents' circumstances, the ones that I had, or the opposite and do better and get up and work and no one's gonna save you, so you gotta do it. And that is what I decided. There was no option. There was no staying small. There was no like, I'm gonna like fuck up my life. Absolutely not gonna happen. And so I had no time really to give myself a lot of excuses, because the more I gave myself excuses, the more that I played victim, the more I just stayed stuck. And I knew no one was saving me. Like nobody was coming to save me. So I knew I had to get myself up and like, okay, work, like have a better mindset, like stop complaining because it's not gonna get you anywhere. I had to have that mentality. So I think it's like always been kind of easy for me to be aware of when I'm telling myself something negative and turn it to a positive, because I just know that if you stay in the negative, it's only like nobody's saving you. So like you can do that if you want, but like ain't nobody saving you but you. And realistically, you can change so much in your life. Like I know sometimes it feels like you can't save yourself in a way, but you can now. I think I'm gonna make a video on becoming self-made in a way, which is like, I don't know, a kind of a cringy word, but I kind of want to make a podcast episode about that. So definitely follow the podcast channel, the Glow Up Secrets podcast on YouTube, and you can also listen to it on Spotify and Apple if you like audio. But working on your beliefs will literally change your life. Like you have to do that. Also, I know I'm taking a long time to put this foundation on, which literally doesn't make too much of a difference, but every time I go out, I feel like I always just need to put this on, because like that just like signifies to me that like I'm actually going out and getting ready. I'm using Ilia foundation, True Skin foundation. It is the best. I've had this for probably like a year. I just wet my beauty blender because my skin was feeling really dry, so I feel like I'm just gonna do it again. I don't know what I'm doing, genuinely, so don't ask me. Okay. Next is to have a vision for your life. This is, again, I feel like I did this quite young because I needed to. And I grew up in a Tumblr phase of my life, so I feel like Tumblr was actually it was actually a great catalyst in many ways. It fueled a lot of my insecurities, but it also helped me in a lot of ways because I was able to see things outside of what was shown to me in my life. I came from a small town as well. Just genuinely, like, even outside of my parents and everything that happened with them, like, I just didn't come from money. I didn't come from a lot of things, like whatever, small town. But when I went online and I got to see like big houses in Florida and like everyone has all these things, I was like, holy shit, like this is a life that I can have. And I think that you need to have that, because if you don't, then like what the fuck? So I feel like you just need to have a vision for your life. I always have had that. I've always had goals. And I mean like long-term goals. So yeah, we all want like, I don't know, like this summer I want to travel to Europe, or like whatever it is, like maybe in the next year you want. But I'm talking like if you are in your 20s, picture yourself when you're 40 years old. Do you want a home? Do you want a family? Where do you want to live? And this is always going to change. This is fine. But like, think bigger. What's a career? What is your career? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be spending your time? How much money do you want to be making? Think big and have that big vision, and spend your time, your days, weeks, months, years working to that vision. It will change, it will evolve, but I feel like, you know, a lot of people know what they want tomorrow, but they don't know what they want in 20 years. And I think that that's actually an issue. And this is not always to live in the future, because you need to detach and just trust that, you know, it's gonna happen, it's gonna come. But like, what are we working towards here? Like, what have you done in the past year that is contributing to the bigger picture? Always have a vision, create a mood board. I actually made a prep for 2024 video on my channel, so I will link that down below. I talked about long-term goals. I think it was like 1 to 3 years or 3 to 5 years, whatever. Gave you a template, gave you a mood board, so follow that. Next thing that's helped me is to not wait for people to validate the life path that I want. If I waited for people to tell me that I should become a YouTuber, I'd probably be waiting forever, or I would just not be doing it yet. And I think that we usually tend to worry about what other people think when we want to do something that is out of the box. And the truth is, if you want to do something that's a little bit more out of the box, you're not going to get the validation. So don't wait for the validation, because you're not going to get it. And I just think for me, like, no one was telling me what to do in my life. Now, sometimes that can be hard because there was a lot of downfalls to not having parental guidance in a way in my teens and early 20s. Not to say that my mom wasn't a guide. Like, she's an amazing mom still, and she always has been. But just unfortunately, our life circumstance made it so I had to make a lot more decisions, and I wasn't really waiting. And you know what? That helped me in a lot of areas because I was kind of like a risk taker. I was like, well, I'm gonna just go for what I want because no one's telling me not to do it. But I just think, like, if you have something that you are desperately wanting to do, you have this desire, you wanna get into this field of work, I don't mean like YouTube field of work, I just mean whatever it is that you wanna do. Why are you waiting for someone to tell you and validate? At the end of the day, it's your life. Like, it's your life. No one is like, I don't even, like, I get it to a certain extent where people, you know, your parents or whatever are trying to steer you in the right direction. Like, we want to listen to people, of course, but at the end of the day, it's your life. You want to be responsible and you want to make it work. And that's what you got to do. You got to have to learn how to trust yourself. Like, I knew if I was going to do the YouTube thing, the podcast thing, I was going to do my research. I was going to understand the industry. I was going to project where I'll be in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm thinking long-term. I'm thinking, how am I going to make money in business, blah, blah. I was smart about it. I didn't just do it off the whim and leave my job. Like, I had a plan, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I'm doing this. I just have to make sure that I have a plan. So have a plan and go for what you want. I don't know, I guess that's my advice. Next thing to do in your 20s is to become resourceful, and bringing it back to my life story. I guess this is just like the podcast episode instead. We live in a day and age where there are so many free resources online that I just do not want to hear people complain about how they don't know how to do something. And I'm saying this because, again, I grew up with no money, no real resources, no parental guidance telling me how I should learn how to get out of debt or learn how to save and this, that. Like, it was very, very, very minimal information. But what I did was I became resourceful, and I said, oh my God, I have a computer on my phone here, a literal computer on my phone. I can go on YouTube, I can go on podcasts, I can get free resources, meaning books at a library, I can ask questions, I can find so much information that I need to start something. Am I saying that you can just become a doctor by going on a YouTube video? No. And obviously that is not what I'm talking about, but I have learned so much about my own actual career of like being a podcaster, YouTuber, all this kind of stuff, through a simple Google, YouTube search and listening and connecting and talking and asking questions. You have to be resourceful. But I've just been thinking about this concept. Basically, in this day and age, you have to be an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're gonna be working for someone in somebody's company. You have to fend for yourself. Like, you gotta find the right people, talk to the right people, build your skills with however much money you have or do not have. Find your free resources, dedicate your life to whatever you need to do, and do it. Because again, like I've been saying, like, no one's really gonna do it for you, but I just feel like whether you have your own business or not, like, life just requires you to be an entrepreneur. And I think that, like, coming back to this victim mentality, nobody's gonna save you. So if you're waiting for the government to save you, if you're waiting for minimum wage to be raised, no, at least for me, that's not what I was gonna do with my life. I was going to work smart. I was going to, and I actually have it on here, so I guess I'll just talk about that. I learned how to work smart. I realized that things weren't gonna be handed to me, and I needed to work 1, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, which I ended up doing. I capitalized on my youth. I said no to instant gratification. I learned to be responsible and save my money and pay down debt and, you know, course correct myself from the decisions that I made when I was really young, which is totally fine, especially with no real guidance. But I decided to get what I want in my life, but that came from, you know what, I'm just gonna grind. I'm gonna understand that my circumstance is a little bit different than everyone else's, the same way yours is different than mine, same way, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to capitalize on the time that I do have, whether that be on my work break, whether that be an actual day off, whether that be learning a skill to do something in a quicker, faster way. Whatever it is I needed to do, I learned how to do it. But that requires you to have patience. And I think that's something that's very not common, especially when we're young, which is normal on social media. Like, everyone has everything all the time and you want it too, but you know, understand that you're gonna have everything that you want in your life if you just decide to work smart, understand your circumstance, understand that your time will come, and it will come. It really will. Another thing that's helped me become successful in my 20s is to drop perfectionism. This is something that I talk about a lot in my book once again, but I think perfectionism literally ruins so many things in our lives and really stunts our growth, because realistically there's no such thing as perfect. But I'll just bring it back to being a YouTuber. If I was going to be so hung up on my first video making sure it was perfect, then I would never start. And a lot of people don't start because they're waiting to be perfect, and it just doesn't exist. And how you get better at something is you try. Like, why are we expecting ourselves to be picture perfect, speak in a flawless way, be the smartest person in the room, this, that, and the third with whatever on our first try? Like, it's wild. How do you think a very successful person is successful? Or that singer, that dancer, that business person is so successful? It's because they tried and they weren't good at the beginning. Who knows, maybe they had some sort of talent, doesn't matter. They still had to try, they failed, they showed up, they practiced, and that's how they got to where they're at. So let's just drop the perfectionism. We know that it doesn't get us anywhere. Even when it comes to health and fitness, you don't feel good today, okay, still go to the gym. You can't do that huge leg day that you were hoping to do because you're not feeling the best, as long as you're not burning yourself out and like pushing yourself when you know you shouldn't. Just go and do something, like get out of your own way. The more you get out of your own way, the more that you will see consistent results in your life, and it just compounds after that. Another thing that's really helped me in my life is to learn how to love myself. That was such a huge journey for me when I realized I was very operating out of scarcity because of my life circumstance, and I went into this like hyper masculine, like independent, because I had to be. But in that journey, I was very, very hard on myself because I was trying to make sure that I was surviving, and I had to learn why I was hard on myself and why I hated myself in the first place, and understand that that was really just out of survival mode. But also, how do I now speak to myself in a loving way? How do I, when I make a mistake, not be such a tyrant on myself? How do I allow myself to mess up? How do I accept the fact that I have flaws? These are very important things you have to do, because that's how you get out of your own way and actually get the things that you want in your life. And in general, you learn to live life and enjoy it. I am not interested in living a life in which I'm under this tyranny in my mind from my inner critic. I don't want it. It doesn't get you anywhere. It led me to a lot of unhealthy behaviors. I got sick, I got unhealthy, I didn't have healthy relationships. Not interested in doing it. Self-love is the biggest and best gift that you can give to yourself, and it affects all areas of your life. So again, talked about that a lot in my book. Definitely reading this list out of order, but whatever. The next thing is cleaning up my mental diet. I think this kind of goes with working smarter, not harder, and changing your beliefs. But understanding that what you consume, really you become, is so crucial. And I think now that I'm 28, I can really look back and see different phases of my life and who was really influencing me. And it's really not to get mad at myself at all, because you just go through phases and you try things out. But there were so many times where I was stressing about things in my life because I was online watching everyone else live their life and their luxury, this, that, and the third. And then, you know, I wanted to keep up with the Joneses, so I would spend money I didn't have, or I would just try to make money very, very, very quickly and figure out my entire life at the age of 23 because I'm seeing everyone else have these fun, crazy, amazing lives. Like, but then I just started to operate like too much of that scarcity, which then I started just stressing myself out, and then I wasn't healthy, you know what I mean? And so I just really had to make sure that I was consuming people who taught me things that I needed to understand about life, that were positive influences, even when it came to just like mindless stuff, right? You know, whether I was on YouTube or Instagram, just looking at like, you know, aesthetic things, even that, like whatever, it's fine. But I stopped looking at things that made me feel like shit about myself. I stopped listening to people that were telling me, oh my God, I have to start this thing or that thing, or, you know, influencing me to get this, whatever it was. You have to be very careful with what you consume, because it will then come into your mind and you will reflect it back out into your reality. So even when it comes to like dating advice and stuff, be careful who you're listening to online, because everyone has their opinions. And even myself, like I have my opinions. I try and do my best to like not be biased, but you can't, like you just can't. So just understand that everyone has their own way of thinking and being, and use your critical thinking skills. Start listening to positive people on podcasts, YouTube, read books that are inspiring you, like have conversations with people in your real life and hang out with people in your real life that motivate you instead of make you feel like shit. Like life is too short for that. My next tip is to get your financial life together, because if not now, then when? If you are in debt, if you are struggling to make money right now, if you are just not where you want to be, which is a lot of people, please, please, please let this be the year that you make the plan and you actively work towards it. I understand that you might not actually be able to find something that's like making you a lot of money right now, but it's like, okay, looking at your big picture and your plan, let's say the job that you're at, is there room for growth? Are you able to grow? What skills do you need? Do you need to go back to school? Like, what are all the things that you need to do and get that organized? This might take a while. I'm not saying like that's gonna change over 1 year. It didn't change for me over 1 year, but like I really had to sit down and have a plan, again, a vision for my life and my career and where I was going and how much money I wanted and how I wanted my life to look. But I also needed to address the things that were currently in my control. And I had to start small, let's say with paying off debt and figuring out where I was actually putting my money and why I was putting my money there and how to stop spending so irresponsibly and being better with my money, saving, all those things. I had to do that because again, no one was doing it for me, but that absolutely changed my life because, you know, we cannot deny that a quality of life, it does require money in a way. It doesn't matter how much in a way, because that's gonna be so dependent on you and what you want in your life. But yes, obviously everyone wants to feel financially good. So what is that gonna look like? What do you need to do this year? Get your finances on track. Do you need to finally call the collections and figure out how much you owe? Do you need to start putting away X amount of money so that you can pay down your debt? Do you need to look up a school or, you know, talk to your boss about a raise? Whatever it is you have to do, just do it, please. Because this is the thing. I think a lot of people, I used to have friends when I was in my early 20s where when I was trying to figure out my finances, they were actually in worse circumstances, which is, I'm not even judging what that, doesn't matter. But I would see them completely like ignore and pretend these things didn't exist. And then on top of that, continue to live a life that makes their whole financial situation like way worse. And I was really learning from them. I was seeing like, whoa, but like if you keep ignoring this gets bigger, debt and your financial situation. And if you keep focusing on this just makes everything 10 times worse. But on top of that, you're also getting older and now you're creating a longer distance between where you're at and where you say you want to be. Like none of that was really making sense to me when I was witnessing that. And I saw it in myself, but when I started to really work on it too, I was like really seeing like, as we started growing up, like, whoa, like this is only gonna get worse type thing. And I just think about that even like with my teeth, I had to get like cavities filled and things like that, and I didn't have insurance and I didn't have a lot of money and I didn't want to put my money to that. Like I want to spend my money on like clothes and things like that, but I realized like, wait, if I leave this, it's only gonna get worse. And I would rather deal with this now than deal with this later, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to deal with it. So like, let's just bite the bullet. Let's just understand if we put our time and our attention and our efforts into whatever we need to do financially for the next 3-5 years, I don't care how long it takes, I promise you, on the other side of that, you're gonna feel so much better than the situation that you are running from. Because at the end of the day, you running from a situation is only creating more of a shitty situation, and you actually looking at the shitty situation in your eyes full force will actually be way less stressful than you continuously running away from it. So that's just what I've learned. I am going to make an entire episode on how to have a financial glow up on the podcast, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm just gonna quickly do my eyeliner and then my mascara, and then I'll come back. Okay, I am done my makeup. I am not gonna put this hair in yet because I'm not leaving yet, but it'll look something like this, okay? But we're just not gonna put it in right now. Yeah, so that is my list of things that have helped me feel more healthy, hot, and successful in my 20s. There's probably many more things, but these are things that I live by still today. And I'm actively trying to strengthen whether that be anything to do with my beliefs, whether that be my wellness routines and understanding my cycle more, trying out things with my hair, and just strengthening the acceptance and love that I have for myself. Not every single day is perfect, and there's just gonna be people, places, and things in life that will sometimes make you feel a little bit less than, and you just work through those things. But that's okay, and I think that when you tell yourself that you can get through things, and you know, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to always have confidence, or you don't have to always love yourself, you can accept that, I feel like life just ends up being better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you would like to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.